prakritaha sarga Shadime prakrita sarga Vaikritan api me shruno Vaikritan api me shruno Rajo bhajo bhagavato Rajo bhajo bhagavato Lileyam hari medhasaha Lileyam hari medhasaha Shadime prakrita sarga Vaikritanapi me shruno Rajo bhajo bhagavato Lileyam hari medhasaha Shadime prakrita sarga Shat 6 Ime all these Prakritaha of the material energy Sargaha creations Vaikritan secondary creations by Brahma Api also me from me. Who is me? Krishna. Who's speaking this verse? Maitreya Rishi is answering Vidura's question. So it's Maitreya Rishi. Hear from me means hear from Maitreya Rishi. Shruno, just hear. Rajaha bhajaha of the incarnation of the mode of passion. Brahmā. Bhagavataha of the greatly powerful. Leela, pastime. Yam, this. Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Medhasaha, of one who has such a brain. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swamy Prabhupada. All the above are natural creations by the external energy of the Lord. Now hear from me about the creations by Brahmā, who is an incarnation of the mode of passion and who, in the matter of creation, has a brain like that of the Personality of Godhead. Please repeat this translation after me. All the above are natural creations by the external energy of the Lord. Now hear from me about the creations by Brahmā, who is an incarnation of the mode of passion and who, in the matter of creation, has a brain like that of the personality of Godhead. I shall read the next few verses by myself. Text 19. Saptamo mukhya sargastu shadvidas tastusham chayaha vanaspatyoshadhi lata vakshara virudho drumaha. Translation. The seventh creation is that of the immovable entities, which are of six kinds: the fruits without flowers, trees and plants which exist until the fruit is ripe, creepers, pipe plants, creepers which have no support, and trees with flowers and fruits. Text 20. Utsrotasastama praya antasparsha visheshinaha. Translation. All the immovable trees and plants seek their subsistence upwards. They are almost unconscious, but have feelings of pain within. They are manifested in variegatedness. Text 21. Tirashcham ashtamas sargaha soshta vimshad vidho mataha avido bhuri tamaso granagya hridi avedinaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swamy Prabhupada. The translation of this 21st verse. The eighth creation is that of the lower species of life, and they are of different varieties, numbering 28. They are all extensively foolish and ignorant. They know their desirables by smell, but are unable to remember anything within the heart. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Vedas, the symptoms of lower animals are described as follows. Athetaresham pashunaha ashana pipase eva abhivijñātam na vijñātam vadanti na vijñātam pashyanti na viduhu shvastanam na loka alokaviti yadva bhuri tamaso bahurushaha granenaiva jananti hridyam prati swapriyam vastu eva vindanti bhojana shayanadi artham grinanti. The meaning is, lower animals have knowledge only of their hunger and thirst. They have no acquired knowledge, no vision. Their behavior exhibits no dependence on formalities. Extensively ignorant, they can know their desirables only by smell, and by such intelligence only can they understand what is favorable and unfavorable. Their knowledge is concerned only with eating and sleeping. That's the end of this translation of the quoted verse from the Vedas. Therefore, even the most ferocious lower animals, such as tigers, can be tamed simply by regularly supplying meals and accommodations for sleeping. Only snakes cannot be tamed by such an arrangement. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So on the inquiry by Vidura, Maitreya Rishi is explaining the different divisions of creation. This creation is a very, very complex process. In different places in the Bhagavatam, you'll find different descriptions based on the perspective from which the creation is being explained. Because our intelligence, our capacity to understand is limited. Even the most intelligent person cannot understand Krishna's activities. Even a learned person cannot understand a Vaishnava's activities. Vaishnavera kriyamudra vignena bhujaya. Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is explained. So if they can't understand a Vaishnava's activities, what will they understand the Supreme Lord's activities? That's why we have to hear from a pure devotee, a Krishna realized soul, about Krishna's activities and about Vaishnava's activities. That's the only way we can understand to some extent. So in the Bhagavatam, there are statements about Lord explaining some things. And there are statements about descriptions of the creation of different activities of the Lord by realized souls like Maitreya Rishi. So we simply have to hear. And what is Maitreya Rishi telling Vidura? Vaikritanapi me shrunu. Shrunu. You hear. Same thing Krishna is telling Arjuna. Maya saktamana partha yogam yunjan madashrayaha asamshayam samagram mam yatha jnasasi tat shrunu. You hear from me. So the Goswami is instructing us in the Bhagavatam. Shrunvatam swakatha krishnaha punya shravana kirtanaha hridyantastohi abhadrani vidhunoti surutsatam. So this hearing, the most important activity. And this hearing is especially meant for human beings. As is described here, there are different categories of created beings at the beginning of creation. And after the initial creation takes place, then there are means of reproducing, expanding the population of each species by the method of procreation. But in the beginning, when Brahma has to create, when the Lord has to create, Supreme Lord Vishnu, in his three different manifestations, Mahavishnu, Padmanabha Vishnu, and the maintainer Vishnu, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. All three of them, they begin the creation process and it lasts only one breath of Mahavishnu, this whole creation. And within that one breath, so many things happen. Brahma is born, and then after as is explained here, Maitreya Rishi has summarized, there are 9 divisions of creation. The title of the chapter, Divisions of Creation. 9 divisions of creation. The first one is creation of Mahat Tattva, that is the sum total of all material ingredients. And the second is the generation of false ego. The third is the sense perceptions. And the fourth is the creation of knowledge and working capacity. We read this yesterday. The fifth is controlling deities. The sixth is the creation of ignorant darkness. And today's verse, these 6 divisions of creation are made possible by natural creations of the external energy. The external energy of the Lord is activated by the glance of Mahavishnu, because of which the inert material energy becomes activated. And so many changes take place. The first 6 divisions, that's what happens. The creation of the Mahat Tattva, Pradhana transforms into Mahat Tattva. And then false ego, then the sense perceptions, the knowledge and working capacity, controlling deities, and the creation of the ignorance of darkness. So all these creations are made possible by the natural creation of the external energy of the Lord. In the Puranas, there is very interesting description. Some places, in some Puranas, it is told creation, maintenance, destruction takes place because of Durga Devi. She is extremely powerful. She is the creator. She is the maintainer. She is the destroyer. So some people who are worshippers of Durga, who are attracted to worshipping Durga because she is the mistress of this whole creation. So they seek shelter of Durga Devi and they try to please her so that she may fulfill some material desires of theirs. And by hearing some statements here and there, they firmly come to the conclusion, Durga Devi is supreme. Durga Devi is the creator, maintainer, destroyer of the whole creation. She is supremely powerful. Nobody is more powerful than her. So these statements have to be understood in the context in which they are stated in the Puranas or in the original Vedas. In the Brahma Samhita, Durga Devi is described. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. Srishti is creation, Sthiti is maintenance, Pralaya, destruction. So immediately Durga worshippers who consider Durga, see, it's told in your Brahma Samhita, she is a creator, she is a maintainer, she is a destroyer. Wait a minute, sir. Hear the full verse. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, Sadhana, Shakti Rekha. Sadhana means the instrument, the agency, the via medium for creation, maintenance and destruction of this whole material manifestation is done by the power or the energy of Durga Devi. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, Sadhana, Shakti Rekha, Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga. Durga's name is mentioned. Durga Devi was the agency for creation, maintenance and destruction of the entire material cosmic manifestation. But she conducts herself exactly as a shadow conducts itself in relationship with the original object of which it is a shadow. Just like when you're walking on the road and there is bright sunshine, then your shadow, if the sun is at an angle, which is east here, this side. So if you are walking from east to west, at this time, you can see your shadow fall on the ground. So when you are walking, your shadow is also moving. But the shadow has no independent movement, has no independent existence. So the shadow moves exactly in accordance with your movement. Like that, Durga Devi does creation, maintenance and destruction exactly in accordance with the will of Govinda, Krishna. Chayeva yasya bhuvanani bibharti Durga, ichhanurupamapi yasya cha cheshtate sa, ichhanurupa, exactly according to the will of Krishna. She performs the activity of creation, maintenance and destruction as the agent, sadhana. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This is a prayer offered by Brahma to Lord Krishna at the beginning of creation. Brahma knows she has got a role to play. Before Brahma actually creates, that's what is described here. The creations of Brahma are called Vaikrita, and the creations of the external energy are called Prakrita. Prakrita Sarga, Vaikrita Sarga. Sarga means creation. So of the 9 divisions of creation, first 6 divisions are done by Durga Devi. The next 3 are done by Brahma. Both Brahma and Durga, they act as the agent of Krishna, who is the actual creator, maintainer, destroyer, the ultimate doer of everything. ultimate Lord, ultimate source, ultimate controller, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So this clarity you generally don't get simply by studying Vedas, studying the other Puranas other than the Bhagavatam, studying all the Upanishads other than Bhagavad Gita. You will not get this clarity. If somebody is fortunate after having studied all this other literature to come to the point of studying Bhagavad Gita, studying Bhagavatam, then they may understand what is actually happening. Complete picture, total picture they will get only from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. Otherwise, they won't understand. They'll come to wrong conclusions. They wrongly think Durga Devi is the creator, maintainer, and destroyer. There's nobody beyond her. Because in their understanding, in their vision, in their perception, where is Krishna? Who is Krishna? They have no understanding of Krishna beyond this material creation, beyond this material world. The eternal existence of the spiritual world, of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the spiritual world, they have no understanding. They have no idea. They have no knowledge. They have no perception. There is no way to understand other than hear from Krishna or his pure devotee. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us, if you want to know the absolute truth, the ultimate reality, only two books you should read or study. Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad. Finished. Therefore, Prabhupada has taken a lot of pains to translate the Bhagavad Gita and give extensive purports, and translate the Bhagavatam and give extensive purports. So Prabhupada has given everything we require to know and understand and realize the absolute truth, the ultimate reality, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam Vibhum. The conclusion of Arjuna, after hearing from Krishna, who is Krishna? Arjuna's conclusion, you are the Supreme Brahman. You are the Supreme resting place, abode. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam, you are the Supreme Pure. Like that. So, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam only can help us understand the actual truth. Tattva. And even to understand Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, merely by studying them independently, one cannot properly understand. Just like reference is made to the Supreme Lord as Hari. Now this word Hari in Sanskrit has got 20 meanings. Now which meaning should be applied where? How will somebody understand the actual meaning? It is not dependent on scholarship. It is only by hearing directly from Krishna, the original source of all the Vedic literature, all knowledge, or hearing from a representative of Krishna who is Krishna realized soul. Jnaninaha Tattvadarshinaha. Tattvadarshana means is Krishna realized. So such a person you should hear. He will explain. Like Prabhupada is telling, Hari here means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The same word Hari, when the name of this Lord Narasimha, Narahari. So what is the meaning of the word Hari in the name of Lord Narasimha as Narahari? Hari means lion. When you say Narahari is the name of the Supreme Lord, immediately conclude Hari, that is name of another name of God only, no? Supreme Lord only, no? So Narahari means, Hari refers to, Hari meaning is Supreme Lord. Like here, Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No. In the name Narahari, Hari means lion. So the Supreme Lord appeared in an incarnation as half man, half lion. Nara Hari. Or as we say, Narasimha. Same meaning. Narasimha, Nara Hari, Nara Kesari. These are all synonyms for lion. Simha, Kesari, Hari. So, we cannot speculate or we cannot refer a dictionary or we cannot theorize and understand these scriptures, the original Vedic literature, or even the Puranas or the Itihasas. We cannot understand properly. We have to hear the explanation given by the Acharyas or given by Krishna. Directly. Directly we have to hear. We cannot read interpretations of Acharya's works. Like nowadays there are so many people. They'll either interpret Krishna's words or they'll interpret Acharya's words. So that is no use. You have to hear directly from the Acharya. Therefore, we always speak from the words of the Acharya or from the words of Krishna as explained by the Acharya. You see, this is very important. So here it is explained that Brahmā in the matter of creation, Maitreya Rishi's statement, Acharya's statement, has a brain like that of the personality of Godhead. This is Brahma's position in order to do the secondary creation, Vaikrita Sarga. This is Brahma's power, potency. Harimedasaha Rajo Bhajo Bhagavato Leela Iyam Harimedasaha. Even though he is an incarnation of the mode of passion, but still in the matter of creation, the three divisions of creation, that means basically he is giving the material body for different species of living entities to take birth. His brain works like that of the Supreme Lord. So he is called a Shakyavesha Avatara, empowered incarnation of the Supreme Lord for the purpose of creation, secondary creation. Every Shakyavesha Avatara, every empowered incarnation of the Supreme Lord is invested with the power for a specific purpose by the Supreme Lord personally. So Brahma is no ordinary person. Brahma is, in the matter of creation, secondary creation, Brahma is as intelligent as the Supreme Lord himself. That is what is described here. So, Brahma does the seventh division of creation, which is creation of the immovable entities. Tastusham, Shadvidaha, Tastusham Chayaha. 6 kinds of immovable entities. All these plants and trees and creepers, they cannot move from one place to another. So at the topmost division of all created beings, Sthavara Jangama. Sthavara is all these plants and trees which are immovable. And then the movable, all the other creatures, the insects, the worms, the reptiles, the fishes, all of them have got facility to move. But they are limited by whatever is provided for them. Just like plants cannot move, but other creatures can move, but they have got their limitation. Like snakes can only crawl, but even for crawling they don't have legs, so their movement is very slow. Whereas some other creatures which crawl, they have got legs on which they can crawl very fast. Then there are creatures which can fly, like some insects, some birds. And Garuda, the pure devotee, he can fly and carry the Lord wherever the Lord wants to go, in the spiritual world, in the material world. You see? So, in the form of a bird, he is engaged in serving the Supreme Lord as the Lord's carrier. But that is not the only service he renders to the Lord. When he is flying, Garuda is chanting the Samaveda, 2 divisions of Samaveda, while vibrating or flapping his 2 wings. You seen? Always Garuda has got 2 wings. So, on one side, he is flapping the wing for flying, one division of the Samaveda, Brihat Sama. Brihat Sama is referred to in the Bhagavad Gita. Brihat Sama is an exquisite melody of the Samaveda, which Krishna says, I am the representation of the division of Samaveda called Brihat Sama. Brihat Sama tatha samnam. 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says. Then another one is called Rathantara, the second division of the Samaveda. So the other wing, I don't remember which one, he's flapping for flying, he is chanting the second division of the Samaveda. This is the glory of Garuda. So don't think he's simply one bird who's flying everywhere and carrying the Lord. Carrying the Lord is no ordinary activity. Maybe there are birds which can fly in the material world, material sky. But no bird can fly in the spiritual sky. Only Garuda can fly. So therefore, this movement, somebody may be very proud of their ability to move. But that is very, very limited. Very limited. Even the residents of Siddha Loka in this universe, They have naturally got mystic powers by which simply if they think, I'm now in Hyderabad, I want to go to Bangalore. Next moment they are in Bangalore. So all over the universe they can travel that way. But they can never get out of these 7 layers of covering of this universe. They can never get out. So, whereas Narada, he also travels simply by thought. But he can travel in the material and the spiritual world, anywhere, everywhere. But his purpose of travel is to preach the glories of the Lord. He has no other purpose for travel other than preaching the glories of the Lord, broadcasting the glories of the Lord. So, this movement, even though it is there in different ways, like the aquatics, they can freely swim. Whole life they swim without any effort, effortlessly. In the body of water they are living. But even though that maybe is seeming like, oh, it's a very great facility, freely they swim anywhere, any depth they can go. But the moment you take them out of water, they can't even survive. Movement only in the water. They can't move on the land. They can't even live on the land. So like this, all these creations are material creations. And they have very, very severe limitations. They all are limited. So the lowest creatures are these immovable entities, the plants and the trees and 6 kinds. And they are almost unconscious. Of course, they can never be totally unconscious because they are spirit souls, embodied living beings. In material bodies, they are living beings who are spirit souls. So consciousness will always be there. But they are like, their consciousness is covered to such an extent, they are almost like unconscious. But they have feelings of pain within. This feeling of pain, nobody can escape. No living creature in a material body can escape the feeling of pain. Is there every species, is there everywhere in the whole material creation. All living beings who have got a material body, they should have feeling of pain. So that's why even the plants, they have feelings of pain. And then the 8th division is creation of lower species. Among the movable entities, there are 3 categories. In the middle are the human beings. Above the human beings are the Devatas, the Asuras, the Rakshasas, Siddhas, Charanas, so many different varieties of beings on the upper planets, above the earth. So they are the upper division of movable entities. Middle are the human beings on the earth. And below them are all the lower creatures, animals, birds, reptiles, worms, insects, aquatics, all of them are below. So this 8th division, there are 28 different varieties. 8th division. These are all summarized. This is not the complete detailed description. It is just summarized by. So this characteristic of this eighth division of creation, the lower species of life, they are extensively foolish and ignorant. But they have been given the facility to know their desirables by smell. They can only engage in two types of activities, eating and sleeping. So what to eat, what not to eat, by smell only they can figure out. Even the place of sleeping, which is suitable for them, that they can figure out only by smell. And they are unable to remember anything within their heart. Just like sometimes a dog comes to somebody's door. Then they may just hut. They'll send away the dog. The foolish dog going everywhere searching for some food. It is just sent away by being driven away with a stick or something like that. 2 minutes later, go searching somewhere, again come back to the same place, same door, again search for food. It can't remember. I had come here, I was driven away, there is nothing available here, it can't remember. 2 minutes, also it can't remember. They can't remember anything. Now, why these descriptions? Because for us to appreciate in this human form, even though this is also temporary like all the other forms, even though we have got limitations like all other forms of life, we have some special facility which is not available in the other forms of life. We got the capacity to remember. We got the capacity to remember. So Krishna says, utilize this remembrance capacity to remember me. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. But people who are too busy with sense gratification, they're utilizing their capacity to remember for remembering so many nonsensical things. So many useless things they remember. They never care to remember the Supreme Lord. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us how to remember the Supreme Lord always. Krishna's instruction is Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu. Why does he say Sarveshu Kaleshu? Always remember me. Because the principle is, especially in the human form of life, whatever we remember at the time of death, that state of being we are going to attain after quitting this body at the time of death. Like one Bharat Maharaj, even though he is practicing spiritual life very nicely and almost come to the stage of perfection towards the end of his life, somehow he got attached to one deer, and out of attachment for the deer, at the time of death, he remembered that deer to whom he was attached. And therefore, the next birth, he had to take birth as a deer. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam tame vaiti kaunteya sadatad bhava bhavita. But Krishna says, if at the time of death you remember me, you'll come back to me. So somebody may say, okay, even if I don't remember Krishna before death comes, at the time of death somehow I'll remember Krishna, I'll go back to Krishna. But Krishna says, it is not possible like that. Somehow I'll remember Krishna at the time of death. But some people say, why you young people are wasting your youth? in doing all this bhajan, kirtan, can do that in old age. Why? Because at the time of death you have to remember Krishna. Now is the time to enjoy. So it is not possible to remember Krishna simply by somehow trying to remember at the time of death. Not possible. So therefore, Krishna's instruction is, since you have to remember Krishna at time of death, and whatever you remember at time of death, accordingly you get your next body. So in order to, and also we don't know when death is going to come. Any moment death can come. Example is Parikshit Maharaj. He was cursed to die prematurely. In Sanskrit, it is called Akala Mrityu. Means every body that is created, a certain duration is fixed. Duration of life is fixed for every body at the time of creation. But there is no guarantee that one will live that entire lifespan. There is no guarantee. There is no certainty. This lifespan which is fixed can reduce or can even be increased by different methods. Generally, for human beings, their lifespan can be increased when they perform certain types of pious activities. Like those who practice Ashtanga Yoga and practice Pranayama. They can increase their duration of life by controlling their breathing. Then some others who are expert in serving great personalities, Mahatmas, Sadhus, saintly persons. So by the blessings of saintly persons, they can live 120 years. That's the maximum lifespan for a human form of body. They can live 120 years. But if somebody insults a great personality, just like the Kauravas, they insulted Draupadi, the most chaste lady, then their lifespan became shortened. They all died premature death in the battle of Kurukshetra. Not even one son of Dhritarashtra, 100 sons, not even one survived the battle. Though they were more powerful than the Pandavas. Why? Because they were cursed by Draupadi when they insulted her. To die prematurely. So many plans, no? This Duryodhana had. Evil-minded Duryodhana. Durbuddhi. Bhagavad Gita it is described. Dharta rashtrasya durbuddhe yuddhe priyachikirshabaha. This evil-minded Duryodhana, so many plans. And finally he thought, with very good support, he is going to win the battle. He challenged the Pandavas. If you want any land, any kingdom, you fight. Win the battle. Only that way you can take. So he denied the Pandavas. And he was overconfident of victory in the battle. That's why he challenged. Foolish fellow did not know. Already death is just waiting just for the battle to take place. And this world war, just 18 days. It's a world war. 640 million were killed in that battle, in that war. 640 million. So, this foolish fellow did not know, I am not going to live beyond this battle. What to speak of victory? Whether victory or defeat, if you only live, you can enjoy that victory, no? So, we don't know when death is going to come. Any moment death can come. Any moment. Therefore, Krishna says, practice remembering me always. Whenever death comes, doesn't matter. If I always remember Krishna, I'm straight going back to Godhead. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. I'm making this point to help us appreciate that we have the facility to remember. So what should you practice remembering? Krishna. How do you practice remembering Krishna? By chanting Hare Krishna. This is what is taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To constantly remember Krishna means to constantly chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Though we are told minimum number of times you should chant is 16 rounds. But Krishna's instruction is to constantly chant Hare Krishna. So whenever your tongue is free, other than the time you are chanting your number of rounds, 16 rounds, other than that time, you should keep vibrating the tongue and try to keep chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada says, my disciples, in a conversation, Prabhupada is telling one guest, my disciples, even when they are walking on the street to go to the store to buy some milk for Krishna, they'll be having their bead bag and they'll be chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So Prabhupada appreciates his disciples always engaged in chanting. So we should practice this. To practice this. When taking bath, when going from one place to another place, while waiting some place for somebody to come, waiting for the lift in a multi-storied building, apartment, while cleaning some table, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada says, tongue training. Train the tongue. Two activities of the tongue. Train the tongue to only engage in chanting or reciting the prayers or the verses of the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and in tasting only Krishna Prasad. That's all. Training is required. Especially for constantly chanting Hare Krishna, training is required. So practice this. And your life is successful. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణవాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 91